Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, we have Prakash Diwan who joins us to help us out with some fundamental analysis on the stocks we just listed out for you. Hi, Prakash. Good morning and hope you have a good weekend. Prakash, what about Kotak Mahindra Bank? We got a couple of negative news flows that did come in when Mr. Manian, decided to move on. Also with regard to the curtailment coming in from the RBI. But these numbers look good. There's margin expansion. They're sounding quite confident. And they've quantified the hit as well, 300 to around 500 crores at the PBT level. So pretty much things are clear. It's not very cheap, but it's trading at a sharp discount in comparison to what it normally trades at. Your view?
Good morning, Nigel. So absolutely, I think these numbers tell you that from an operational perspective, the bank is in great shape. There's nothing to worry about. But going forward, and the market will always look at what's ahead rather than what's behind us. From that perspective, certain things still remain a bit iffy, especially on the leadership front. This impact on the PBT might probably be easy to digest because you'll probably have credit growth come back in a significant way going forward. And I'm sure Kotak can very easily participate in that, given the fact that they've held back on growth for quite some time. So I think the market will wait for certain clarity on the leadership changes, on the timelines for this RBI intervention. And all of that means that the stock could probably be very sideways for the next couple of quarters. I don't expect fireworks. Yes, the numbers have been good, but then that's the past. What we need to look at is going ahead. If these numbers continue to fuel the growth in the stock, that's the question. But my sense is it'll probably be sideways.
Okay, so that's on Kotak Mahindra Bank. Got it. Prakash, hi, good morning. I wanted your thoughts on Avenue Supermarts because, there's a lot of things working in its favor. Of course, results were good. Revenue growth of 20% in this competitive market is no mean feat, right? And there were a lot of upgrades as well. JP Morgan has upgraded the stock this morning. Do you think buying a fresh makes sense in Avenue Supermarts?
Good morning, Sonia. So, what the numbers tell you is that in spite of a lot of store expansion that they've undertaken in the last few quarters, they've been able to actually improve on the operational metrics in a very decent way, which usually doesn't happen. There's always a lag. When you open up new stores, the overall aggregate basis, things kind of start, sagging a bit till the stores mature and all. But I think the selection of locations, the kind of sizing that they have this time in the recent times that they have utilized, all of that very clearly tells you that the business model is getting absolutely very well refined. And from that perspective, if you were to invest today and ride on the retail boom that's still kind of, awaited, I don't see any reason why you won't make money on the stock. The stock doesn't look expensive because it's spent a lot of time in this zone and the earnings have actually improved in the last 1 year. So I would believe while it has always been a premiumly valued stock, it will continue to do so, but it will still give you some upside from an EPS upgrade rather than just a PE expansion.
Okay, all right. Prakash, what about Tata Technologies? I recall when it listed, people were going gung-ho on it. It went to around 1,300. Now it's back closer to around 1,000 rupees. The numbers didn't look very, very good. And the valuations, if I look at a Kotak note, they're mentioning that it trades at around 44 times its forward earnings. So it's still not very, very cheap. But if the stock pulls back, do you think it's a good entry opportunity? Because it's got good parentage. There's a story that is yet to play out there. These numbers were weak, valuations not supportive. Which side of the fence are you on?
So, Nigel, I believe it's a great story, as you rightly said. Just because of the price anchoring bias that you have, that it was offered at whatever 600 odd, and it got listed and went past 1,200, and now it's available. If I didn't know the price history, let's say, and if I had to evaluate the stock on an absolute basis today, it is exactly where Tata Elxsi used to be about 4 years back. So it seemed richly valued because the EPS had still not, the earnings had still not kicked in. But most of the projects in the pipeline, the kind of synergies that they have from the Tata Group, having it signed into so many things which are promising, I don't see any reason why a Tata Tech cannot, rapidly increase its earnings and then play catch up on this part. So this 44 times that you're talking about would well be in its 20s if earnings double in the next couple of years, right? So from that perspective, I don't think you'll ever get the stock cheap. As you said, if there's a pullback, it comes to 1,000, sub 1,000. you add more. But even at the current levels, I don't see any reason why you should be looking at buying into it. From a technology allocation perspective, it probably makes a lot of sense given that it's not risen and gone out of whack.
Prakash, there are so many auto companies coming out with their numbers this week, right? There's Tata Motors, there is Hero MotoCorp, TVS Motor, etc. What would your pick of the pack be?
So, of course, it pays to wait for the numbers to be out, Surya, but I'm expecting very clearly a decisive deleveraging announcement from Tata Motors that will kind of set the record straight in terms of what they had promised about being net debt free. So there will be a little bit of that spike there. But Hero Moto is the one that last time also I had mentioned that if there is a demand revival, especially within the rural markets, this is one name that would want to play catch up. You have the Bajajes and the TVS of the world, which are fairly expensive now, given the run-up. Hero, of course, is not also cheap, but at least a PEG basis, it makes the grade. And I'm quite positive the numbers give you that kind of an indication of a bottoming out on the destocking that we've seen the entire last year. It could probably be a very promising bet going forward.
Okay, that is...
Right. Prakash, just a quick word on metals broadly. I mean, that's where, if you want to talk about momentum, NMDC and the aluminum names and Vedanta, that's where momentum is. And sort of indication from the global market, the dollar falling to 105, the dollar index, should be quite positive generally for commodities. What's the view here and what do you like in that space?
So, Prashant, absolutely. I mean, I don't see any reason why that rally, which seemed to have paused just for a week or so in the commodities, could kind of reverse or flatten out. In fact, globally, the anticipation is that copper, aluminium will continue to do so. The non-ferrous pack this time around is likely to have much sharper moves upwards as compared to ferrous, given the demand-supply equation that ferrous sits on. So, from that perspective, it's a direct play. You straight away get into buying Vedanta, Hindalco. We spoke about this, Nigel and I will discuss even Moil, because there's this huge shortage that's kind of precipitating on the manganese side, and Moil has some amazing reserves. They've upped the capacity, the expansion that they've recently undertaken has started paving way for much better revenue. So I think you have some very structural stories backed with good fundamentals on a micro basis in India. So these would probably be the top three picks: Vedanta, Hindalco, and Moil, because I'm a bit more skewed towards the non-ferrous side of the metal pack.
All right, Prakash, and we are at CNBC-TV18 try to get into these smaller segments, manganese ore, ferrochrome, stocks like Imfa, Moil. We've tried to cover that, and I recall you being very, very positive on Moil as well. Thanks a lot for joining in, Prakash. Wishing you a good Monday ahead, and we'll chat up with you later on in the week.